Hello, baseball fans. King Ikeboo coming to you live from the underground bunker deep beneath Tuktoyaktuk, where once again we are playing the 1983 baseball season. We are nearing the end. Here are the standings with, what are we at? We're on September the 9th, September 9th, September 11th, 1983, and a game between the Atlanta Braves and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Here are the standings. As we said before, Houston in the National League West is ahead by half a game over Atlanta. And Los Angeles, who's won the World Series the last 2 years in a row, who look like they perhaps could be out of it, are creeping back. They're only 4.5 games back. San Francisco's 3 games back. What a tight race we have going on in the National League West. And the reason why the Dodgers are only 4.5 games back is they've won the first 2 games of this series. They won game 1 on the backs of Mike Marshall by a score of 6-4, and it really wasn't that close as the Braves scored 4 runs in the 9th inning. Winner was Alejandro Pena, and the loser, who's really done horribly this season, Phil Niekro. And King is losing his voice for who knows whatever reason. But no wonder the Braves told him that he should retire at the end of the season because he's doing so poorly, but he did not listen, and he went to the Yankees and had a couple good years with the Yankees. So the Braves, you could say they were right for asking him to retire because he was with them since the early 60s. And Niekro, you can say that he still felt he had something left, and he did. And he's a knuckleballer. He doesn't need to throw hard. And then in game 2, Craig McMurtry versus Fernando Valenzuela. And once again, the Dodgers win 6-3 in this one. And so they win the first 2 games of the series, which knocked the Braves out of first place and made the Dodgers still in 4th place, but only 4.5 games back, and nobody would be betting against them at this point. Our game today is between Len Barker of the Braves and Rick Honeycutt of the Dodgers. Both these pitchers were not on their respective teams at the beginning of the season. The Braves just traded for Barker a couple weeks ago, and it's an unusual trade because they traded him for 3 players to be named later, but the names leaked out of the players that they were trading to Cleveland, and so Brett Butler was one of those players, and so they have both Len Barker and Brett Butler at this time, though everybody knew that he was going to be traded. And actually, he was a part of the Indians at this point, but he still was playing with the Braves. I don't think they'd see that today with all the liability and the injury issues. Nobody would risk it. But that's what happened. They had both Barker and Butler at the same time, even though they were traded for each other. Also in that trade was Brooke Jacoby. So it was not a good trade for the Braves, and probably maybe one of the reasons why they went to a bad place until 1981 when they don't feel sorry for the Braves. They became dominant, and you know what happens from then on. But for the rest of the 80s, they were pretty bad, and part of it was this terrible trade. But they have Len Barker, and they're going to have to do the best they can with them. And then Rick Honeycutt started the season with the Texas Rangers, and he was traded for Dave Stewart. So Dave Stewart, who just never found his place in Los Angeles, went on to much bigger and better things, became a great pitcher. Well, he was pretty good with the Rangers, but he became great when he got traded to the Oakland Athletics. So here is today's game, the game 3, Len Barker versus Rick Honeycutt. And the King is struggling with his voice. We don't know why. Maybe because he hasn't done a video for a while. The King is contemplating a move. Moving from the frozen tundra of Tuktoyaktuk to one of the most beautiful islands in Canada, sometimes called the edge of the world. He's contemplating a move. So that could be taking a lot of time in the future. Still undecided. So that's one of the things that's going on in my life right now. But we are not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about the Braves and the Dodgers. Here is the lineup for the Atlanta Braves. 1/2 game out of first place at this point. Leading off, playing left field, Brett Butler. Which is a perfect name for Atlanta. Brett Butler. I don't know why they would ever trade him. Batting second, the second baseman, Jerry Royster. Batting third, the shortstop, Rafael Ramirez. Batting fourth, the center fielder, Dale Murphy. Batting fifth, the first baseman, Chris Chambliss. Batting sixth, the right fielder, Brad Kaminsk. Batting seventh, the catcher, Bruce Benedict. Batting eighth, the third baseman, trying to replace Bob Horner, is Randy Johnson. And batting ninth, the starting pitcher, we've talked about him already, Len Barker. Now the starting lineup for the Los Angeles Dodgers, the surging Los Angeles Dodgers, who have won, well, 6 of the last 4, won 2 in a row. Probably the hottest team right now in the National League West. They're leading off, as he always does, the second baseman, Steve Sachs. Batting second, the shortstop, Bill Russell. Batting third, yesterday's player of the game in left field, Dusty Baker. Batting fourth, the MVP of the Dodgers. Batting at third base, Pedro Guerrero. Batting fifth, the right fielder and the player of the game in game number 1 and is doing very well in his rookie season. Can we show him how well he's doing? He is batting .285 with 19 homers, 58 RBIs, doing very well. Mike Marshall batting 6th, the other rookie on the team. Greg Brock, first baseman, batting 7th. The center fielder, R.J. Reynolds, just in his first or second week of baseball. I think he hasn't played very much at all. Only his 6th game in the major leagues. R.J. Reynolds batting 7th. Steve Yeager doesn't seem to be playing, so they've called up Mr. Jack Fimple. The catcher, he's doing pretty well. And the starting pitcher, Rick Honeycutt, the future pitching coach of the Dodgers, Honeycutt. So let's get this one underway. So I want to say, well, we'll talk about this more. I don't explain how I play very often, and therefore I get comments in the videos about, what are you doing with your relief choices? Well, let me go through it again, in case you've never heard it. I have unique rules for pitching. My goal is so that we don't use up relievers, be cheating. You could just use a great pitcher like Tom Niedenfuer. If you play him every game, there's no rest mechanic in this game. So I play strictly as played. And I go by a series basis. So if a pitcher did not pitch in a certain series, he is not eligible to be used in this series. But I also, in the first game, I don't blow all the pitchers. I try to save them for when I need them. So I don't, even though there's lots of pitchers available in this particular series, I don't just blow them all. Although now here in the 5th game, I have oodles of pitchers available. Brizzolera, Bedrosian, Garber, Terry Forster, Donnie Moore for the Braves, Tom Niedenfuer, Steve Howe, Beckwith, Zachary, Hershiser, Rodas, and Hooten are available. The numbers in brackets here are the number of innings they have left in the season. You notice here Bert Hooten has 0 because he's a starter. He's only been put in the bullpen recently, therefore he has nothing left. So I can use him, but only for 1 inning. And if there's Zachary has a 2.22, that means he was appeared twice in the series. He can be used twice in this series, not just once, like Hershiser or Niedenfuer. And that's the way that works. Also, starters have to go 5 innings minimum. And so if they're tired and they've been knocked around, they still have to go 5 innings. And if there's no pitchers available, like I said, there's lots of pitchers available in this particular series, so we won't see this. But if there's no pitchers available, the reliever or the pitcher has to stay in the game. And that also means sometimes, because he can't be taken out of the game, he's going to have to bat for himself. So I'll get a lot of comments. What crazy, stupid decisions are you making with your relievers? Well, that's the reason. we shouldn't, like I said, we have lots of pitchers available today, so that should not happen. So I will definitely try to please y'all with my relief usage because there's lots of available relievers. So let's get this one underway. Brett Butler, he's batting .275 with 5 homers and 45 RBIs. He gets caught stealing a lot. So I don't always steal with him, even though he was noted for being a great base stealer. He wasn't this season. He got thrown out a lot. He stole 28 bases so far this season, got caught 16 times. So it's not automatic. So here's the first pitch to Butler. And he flies out to center field. Jerry Royster batting .191. And he's horrible at second base. So we're going to look. I also play this with the position players. They have to go 5 innings as well. I can't just take out Royster because he stinks and he's better. There are better options. There have to be somebody in the real game that played second base that can replace him. And if there's not, he played this game also at second base, and he played the first game at second base, but Hubbard is available. So I will look to bring in Hubbard. He's a much better player, sometime in this game. However, if the game is 10-0, does it really matter? Okay, here's the pitch to Jerry Royster, batting .191 with no homers and 12 RBIs. And he grounds out to third base. Here's Rafael Ramirez, batting .277. They just lost their mojo. This team was 6 to 7 games ahead in late August, and they lost Bob Horner, and they had the worst record in the National League from that point on in the season. They just lost it. They should have won. They were the best team in baseball probably this year by winning run differential, and but they just lost it when they lost Bob Horner. So they have to put guys like Rafael Ramirez in the 3 spot, who definitely does not deserve to be there. And he grounds out. And I forgot to put this is what I usually do. I put the pitchers in so people can see what their stats are. I'll do it for this guy, Barker. Most of this was with Cleveland. And I'll catch the other one later, I guess. So let's put in, I usually put in that, and I put it in 16 font. There we go. We'll catch you later. Hopefully I remember. Here's Barker, .354, 10-6, mostly with Cleveland. Here's Steve Sachs, .259, 4 homers, 43 RBIs, and stolen bases 57, stolen bases caught 26 times. Here's the pitch. Okay, possible error for Sachs, and there's no error, so it's a fly out to right field. Bill Russell, and in one of his last seasons with the Dodgers, his hitting is terrible, as you can see, and he's only batting 4 for 37 in September, but he's a very good defensive shortstop, which is why he's out there. And he gets a strike, another pitch, and he gets a base hit. He will not try to steal in front of the big boys. Here's Dusty Baker. He's been hot lately. He's been doing very well. He had a slow start to the season, but he had a very good August. We had 5 homers and 18 RBIs. You can see his slow start. He was around, what is this? Probably around 220. 220 at the All-Star break, but has picked it up since then. He's batting .441 in September. So with it, as Dusty Baker goes, so do the Dodgers. They struggled in the first half. Dusty Baker struggled in the first half. They get hot in the second half. Dusty Baker's hot in the second half. Pedro Guerrero was great all year. He can't do it all himself, though, although he is batting .406 in September, and that's why we're seeing this Dodger surge. But he's been consistent pretty much the whole year. Had the best, not average-wise, but power-wise in June with 10 homers. Here is Baker with a man on, and he strikes out. Here's Guerrero, 33 homers, 85 RBIs, batting .287. And he grounds out. Here's Dale Murphy. He does it all for the Braves. He's batting .334, which, let's see, where does that place him in the National League batting race? We shall see in a second. He's up there. We're not looking at the American League, which still has Wade Boggs batting around 415 with 3 weeks to go. Can he do it? Stay tuned. But we see Dale Murphy's third in the National League and batting only behind Jose Cruz Sr. and Lonnie Smith. So he was the MVP in real life, and he very well could be the MVP of the National League here in the replay. Here is Murphy to lead off. He gets a double, and he's a fast runner, so no need to put on the brakes for him. Here's Chris Chambliss trying to back up Murphy as Bob Horner used to. He's having a decent season. 284, 22 homers, 73 RBIs. And he fouls out to the third baseman. Here's rookie Brad Kaminsky. Only has 11 plate appearances in the major leagues. Has driven in 1 run. And he pops out to the second baseman for Bruce Benedict. He does not have a homer this season, but he's batting .312. And he definitely could use a hit right here. And he walks. Brings up Randy Johnson, not the pitcher. Put the brakes on Benedict. Randy Johnson, he's trying to replace Horner, but he's only batting .194 with no homers and 5 RBIs. Trying to replace a man who has great power. Not doing very well. Here is the pitch to Randy Johnson. And he has a ball. Gets another swing. The Z of Honeycutt takes away the walk. Should have been a walk, but Z is only just a ball. That's why Z is one of the best things to have on a pitcher. And he strikes out. So instead of a walk and bases loaded, he strikes out, and that ends the inning right in front of the pitcher. Instead of getting the pitcher out of the way and going back to Brett Butler, they have to have the pitcher leading off, and it's an American League pitcher too. Here's Marshall, 285, 1958. You can see he's doing better in replay than he's did in real life. I don't know how many homers did he have. He had like 17 or something. Let's see, Marshall. It always does that. I click on that and it goes to a different window. I don't know why. 1765, yes. So he's doing better than he did in real life. Here is Mike Marshall to lead off the second inning. Grounds out. Greg Brock, 216, 16 homers, 52 RBIs. He is doing a little bit worse than real life. And he gets a base hit. He has a chance to steal, doesn't steal. Man on for R.J. Reynolds. Pretty good start to his career, 313, no homers, 2 RBIs. He strikes out. Here's Ray Finkel, batting .250, 1 homer, 8 RBIs. Ball, 1 to Fimple. And it says runner steals second, but S holds first. But I'm not playing, I'm playing just manual steals. Here's Fimple again. He gets a base hit. He's doing very well. And see, unlike the Braves, now they can get rid of the starter. And he's an American League pitcher. Started in Seattle, went to Texas, so he's not much of a hitter. He does have a base hit so far with his Dodger career. And he gets, see there, a double one should be a hit, but it's an 8, and Barker takes it away. So he wastes a double one. Here's Barker, batting .167, and he strikes out Butler. He grounds out, and Royster grounds out as well. We go to the bottom of the third, still scoreless. Steve Sachs gets a walk. See, here's this. He has 11 to 32 is a steal, but 56 to 66 is an out. Caught stealing. So he's going to try, and he steals second. So a good chance of scoring here. Here's Russell trying to get the runner to the third. He gets a base hit and scores the run, and the Dodgers take the lead 1-0. Here's Baker. Strikes out. Guerrero strikes out. Marshall. Base hit. First to third. He's going to try to steal. And he doesn't get the jump. They put on the brakes on Marshall. 1 run in, looking for more for Greg Brock. He's already singled in this game. And he's going to get another roll. What will it be? 54 is a single. Scores another run. And the score is 2-0 Dodgers. R.J. Reynolds. E8, the runner scores, and the runner on first is out at third. So 3 runs for the Dodgers in the third, and it's 3-0, looking to sweep the Braves. Here's Ramirez. The Braves have to come back if they want to get back into first place. It's on with another error. This one's on the catcher, Fimple. And here's Murphy. They want him to cash in with a home run here. And he doesn't. He advances the runner to second. Here's Chambliss. Advances the runner to the third. No, he scores on a ground out. Chambliss, ground 6-3. Runner on second scores. So I don't know how that would happen. Maybe Bill Russell's arm is like a wet noodle. And he kind of lobbed it over there. And he got the out. But in the meantime, the Speedy Ramirez advanced all the way from second base home. I guess that's what happened. There's no error on the play. Here's Kaminsk. And he pops out. So it's now 3-1. Here's Fimple. Ball. And another error. That's the third error in this game. And here's Honeycutt. He's going to try to bunt him over. And he gets a sacrifice. So he wastes a double 1 and a double 6s. But he sacrifices the runner to second. Here's Sachs. Walks. So Barker is struggling. Has he struggled with the Braves so far? He is 359 altogether, but with let's see, he's a 3 ERA with the Braves and is 1-1. Here's Russell. And another possible error. No error on the play. Infield fly. Pop out to short. Baker flies out. Still 3-1. We're in the 5th inning. Here's Bruce Benedict. Grounds out. The pitcher, Randy Johnson, walks. Okay, so in this situation, it's a 5th inning. However, Barker has to pitch the bottom of the 5th inning, so he must stay in the game. He must bunt. And he gets a foul strike. Here's the second attempt. Double play, pop out, and the inning is over. So after 4.5, it's Dodgers 3, Braves 1. Here's Barker to face Pedro Guerrero. Strikes him out. Here is Marshall. Strikes him out. That's strikeout number 6 for Barker. And here's Brock, who's had 2 base hits so far. And he strikes out. That's a 7th strikeout for Barker. Here's Honeycutt. Might as well keep him in the game. He can go one more inning, and then he'll be replaced by a pinch hitter. He's still not tired. He's still CZ. Walk. So should we send Butler? He has a 33% chance of stealing the base and about a 17% chance of getting thrown out. We're down by 2 runs, so no. We will not try to steal. Let's just hope that he doesn't get into a double play. Here's Jerry Royster. Okay, now we can bring in, like we said, we can bring in Hubbard now. And that's what we're going to do because Royster is not very good. Glenn Hubbard is a better, I don't know why they didn't play him more. Seems like he's on the bench a lot. They want to try other people. Look, he's a 9. The maximum is 10 for a second baseman. Their defense just went up from 5 to 9 with that replacement, and he's a better hitter. He's got 12 homers, 73 RBIs. So a home run would be very good right here. Here's the pitch. A single. So if we would have tried to steal, he would have scored. But we played it safe, and he's first and third, nobody out. We'll take that. Here's Ramirez. Ramirez is grounded to the pitcher and reached on an error and scored the only Brave run. Here is Rafael Ramirez. And he gets a base hit, and they're on the boards 3-2, and there's still 2 men on and nobody out for the big boy, Dale Murphy. He is got a double and ground to short. 1 for 2 today. Here's the pitch. Base hit. The game is tied. Runner to third, and the only way they get thrown out is if we roll a 66. So we're going to go for it. 13. He steals second. So second and third, nobody out still, and 2 men on for Chris Chambliss. Chambliss got an RBI on a ground out. Remember that? He got the RBI on that weird play to the shortstop, and the guy scored from second base and popped out or something to third base. Here's Chambliss. And another error. Is it the fourth or fifth error of the game? And the bases are loaded. Ramirez does not try to go. Must have been a little dribbler or something, and he was indecisive, and then by the time he flubbed, it was too late. I guess we'll just picture that. But it's bases loaded now for the rookie Brad Kaminsky. He's not a very good hitter. We could pull him. He is playing right field. Who are the other right fielders in this series for the Braves? You got Jorgensen. I think he plays outfield. Caudell Washington. That's what we're going to do. We're going to bring in Caudell Washington for Kaminsky. I don't know. You're in a pennant race. Why are you playing all your rookies that aren't very good? So Washington batting .312, one of the league leaders in batting with 14 homers and 66 RBIs, and can run like the wind. So hopefully he can stay out of the double play. And the bases are loaded, nobody out, and the Braves need this game desperately. Here is the roll. Flies out the center, and Ramirez, even though he's fast, does not risk it. So now brings up Bruce Benedict, who's excellent on getting on base, and that's all he wants to do. He wants to get a walk or anything. Here is the pitch. And the Z of Honeycutt comes into play again. Instead of a bases-loaded walk, it's just one ball and no strikes. And it's a wild pitch. And the go-ahead run. Honeycutt, after making that great play, throws it away. And a run is in, and runners are still at second and third, now with one out. And still Bruce Benedict up. Here is the pitch to Benedict. And it is a sacrifice fly, so it's 5-3. They score 4 runs in this inning. Now, we won't put the brakes on, 2 out. Let them try for it. Here's Randy Johnson. Now, they could put him on. He's not that great a hitter anyway, though. He's only batting .192. And if he gets on, it's usually because of a walk. So why walk him? And he strikes out. And they have the pitcher to lead off. So Barker is now tired. So we're going to bring in, like we said, we have all these relievers. So we're going to use them. And which one are we going to bring in? The thing is, we can either double switch for Johnson. We already pulled a guy, 2 guys. So I don't know how many guys are left. Who's available? We're going to do a double switch. Jorgensen doesn't play third base. Brooke Jacoby, another guy who is on the Indians, but he's still on the Braves roster. Of course, we can't use the great Bob Horner. I mean, wouldn't it be great if we could use him? Terry Harper doesn't play third base. Bob Watson doesn't play third base. Pocoroba, Gerald Perry. And of course, we can't bring in Horner, even though he plays third base, because he did not appear in the series. So that's why he has to sit on the bench. There's nobody to double switch, so what we'll do is we'll bring in a reliever right here. Someone who's not the best reliever, although every time you bring in Garber, it seems like they give up big runs. He's not very good. He was once good, but not this year. He has that ugly M. And he is a 4.15 ERA, and I think he played yesterday and gave up a home run. So we'll bring in Donnie Moore. And he's also a very good hitter. So we can be a little gamey here and maybe leave him in because he gets on half the time. Here's RJ Reynolds. Okay, now we can play it the other way now too. They could bring in somebody. They could bring in who? Sid Bream, Morales, Espy, Monday. I think Monday's probably a better hitter at this point than Reynolds is. Jose Morales, he's very good, but he only plays first base. And Brock, I don't think, plays outfield. We could bring in, where is he? Candy Mull. Oh, here's Monday. So that's what we'll do. We'll bring in Rick Monday, and he will play center field as he did in the old days when he saved the American flag. He was in center field that day. So we're going to go back like 7 years, and he's going to be playing center field today. They didn't have a great outfield defensively. Okay, here we go. Rick Monday is batting .248 with 8 homers and 26 RBIs, facing Donnie Moore. And he strikes out. Here's Fimple. Fimple grounds out. Now we're going to bring in a pinch hitter. We're going to bring in SB. Can he steal bases? We're going to bring in Landestoy. We're going to bring in... who else is eligible? Morales. Save Morales for when runners are on base. Sid Bream. He can't slug, but he can get on base. So that's what we'll do. We're bringing somebody who can try to get on base. Sid Bream, rookie season. Started with the Dodgers. Of course, he most noted for being on the Braves and scoring that winning run, the pennant winning run in 1992. Here he goes, facing Donnie Moore. 2 balls, so he got double Z. So he took away the walk, but now there's 2 balls and no strikes on Sid Bream. And a possible error, no error, and he's out. So now the Dodgers bring in a pitcher. They have all these relievers. Usually I take the guy who has most innings left. So that would be Pat Zachary. Pat Zachary's coming into the game for the Dodgers. 5-2, 138 ERA. Nothing to be ashamed of there. He's going to face Moore. Moore is batting .400 because of his .500 on base percentage of .500 slugging. Oh, nobody gets on with a 1-2. That's the worst roll in the game. If you're on Jeopardy and they ask you what is Skeeter Soft's worst roll, it's 1-2. You'll know the answer. Here's Brett Butler. He is 1 for 2 with a walk and scored a run. And he gets double ones. 46. It's a double. And Speedy Butler's in scoring position for Glenn Hubbard, who's much better. He came in and he drove in a run on a base hit. And he gets double threes. 52. That is a base hit. Not an extra base hit. It does score another run. So the score is now 6-3 Braves. Bringing in Hubbard. Everything went positive once we did that. Here's Rafael Ramirez. Having a pretty good day. Reached on an error. And scored. And singled. And scored on a wild pitch. And he gets double threes. So he reaches. Double threes. Usually extra base hit. But since Rafael Ramirez doesn't have a lot of power, it was just a base hit. But it brings up Dale Murphy. He singled, drove in a run, scored, and stole a base and doubled. That, shall I say, once again, MVP leads, might lead the majors in RBIs. Definitely leads the National League in RBIs by a good margin over Andre Dawson. But does he lead the American League? Cecil Cooper is his candidate. He's ahead of Cooper now. Cooper was ahead all year long, but the red-hot Murphy has taken the lead in RBIs in the major leagues. So here he has 2 men on, 1 out. Murphy, infield fly, pop out to short since we built him up so bad or so well. Depends how you looked at it. Here's Chambliss. Chambliss has reached on an error, drove in a guy from second base on a ground ball, and ground to or popped out to third. And he flies out. But they score another run. Going to the bottom 7th. Braves 6, Dodgers 3. And Moore can stay in the game. He has lots of innings left. He's got 20 and we only have 3 weeks left. So there's no way he's going to go over. He's facing Sachs. Sachs is walked twice, stole a base, and flied out to right. And he grounds out to short. Bill Russell. He's reached twice today. One of his better days, but he grounds out here to third, and Dusty Baker struck out twice and flied to left. And he fouls out to third this time. So we're going to the top of the 8th. It's 6-3 Braves. Claudel Washington to face Pat Zachary, and he gets double threes. What will he get? There's some good stuff here. 56, that is a double. So he's on second. He's a speedy runner for Bruce Benedict. And he flies out. Lucky he didn't fly in a double play with that 2-1. And Zachary is done. We're going to put in somebody for him. Let's bring in the rookie, Oral Hershiser. His rookie season. Yes, we're bringing in a pitcher. So here he is. He's got a 10.8 ERA. So he's not as good right now as he will be in 1988, but he still has good ratings. 11.3, so he's got a B, though he does walk a lot of guys and does give up a few home runs. That's probably why. It's only 2 innings. Here is the pitcher, Randy Johnson. And that is a fly out. Brings up Moore. Moore is a great hitter. We've talked about that already. Struck out the first time, though. And he gets a base hit. Donnie Moore. And it's 7-3 for the Braves. And he's a slow runner. So, are there any fast runners? Albert Hall. Albert Hall from London. Counting the holes on the ceiling of Albert Hall. That's what we're going to do. We're going to bring him in. He's going to know he has a 50-50 chance. He has no chance of just holding. Either he steals it or he's caught. With 2 out, nobody on. Do you want to take a chance? They're up by 4. And even if you're out, you have Brett Butler leading off. So we're going to take a chance here. 50-50 chance. Stolen base. 50-50 chance of getting thrown out. And he steals the base. Albert Hall. What concerto is being played at Albert Hall today? It is a sweet music as he gets to second base. Here's Brett Butler. And he grounds out. So Albert Hall comes out of the game. And we're going to bring in... We've got Forster. Okay, Moore's been used. Brizzolera. So we're going to bring in Bedrosian. We're not going to play any games. Bring in the best pitcher we've got. Steve Bedrosian. 11 Q1 BXY. B is wonderful. X is wonderful. Y is wonderful. Means he strikes everybody out. You can see he has 91 strikeouts in 94 innings. So there's been a lot of strikeouts today, right? Am I just imagining these things? 4 strikeouts for the Braves. Yes, 8 strikeouts for the Dodgers in this game. And there could be more. Here's Pedro. Grounds out to second. Strikeout to Mike Marshall. And walks. Greg Brock, who's had a great day. He walks. Brings up Rick Monday. He singles. And he gets to second on the throw to third. And brings up Fimple. Fimple, sure, will be that kind of guy. That puts the winning run at the plate. Now we'll just pitch the Fimple. That's what we'll do. He's not a power hitter. So here we go. Here's the pitch to Fimple. Could be an error. And we're out of the inning. So Hershiser will come out. And we'll bring in Beckwith. Joe Beckwith is coming into the game. Beckwith is 4-2 with a 3 ERA. Face Hubbard, Ramirez, and Murphy. And that shouldn't be an out. That should be an out. Hubbard is grounded out. And here's Ramirez. Ramirez has scored 2 runs, driven in 1 run, and is 2 for 4. Flied out, and Murphy gets a base hit for the MVP. And he's on. He's got an F. He gets a lot of... he can score from first on a double quite easily. Here's Chambliss. He's reached on an error and is 0 for 3. Over 4. Does have an RBI. And he's out again. So, Bedrosian staying in the game. Beckwith is coming out. And we'll bring in Espy. Espy will come in. He gets on base a lot. He's only had 1 plate appearance. He was most noted for being a speedster on the Buccos, on the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's what I remember him as. Here we go. He walks. Can't steal, though, but he is fast. Steve Sachs, another base runner. Here, the screws are starting to tighten here. We've seen so many late-inning comebacks. He's still got a little bit left. Bill Russell. Now here, you have an option to accept the game as being called. If you choose to accept the game as called, and it's an official game. So I could be a big cheat. I could do this within my rights to call the game. The Braves win because it's a official game. But you think about how many games are rained out in Los Angeles. Next to none. So we'll continue the game. They still have a chance. See, I play it straight. I don't, you can tell I'm cheering for the Braves, but, I could easily cheat. Well, it's not a cheat. It's part of the game, but I'm going to let the Braves, they're coming back. They got some momentum here. They got the tying run in the on-deck circle, so I'm not going to end the game right here. Here's Russell. Called game. Game called again. They really want to rain out, but once again, I'm being a gentleman. He gets a base hit, and now the tying run's at the plate. Should we bring in the closer, Forster? He's still... look, he's a 1.60 ERA. He hasn't struggled much at all this year. Gets a fly out for the first out and brings up Pedro Guerrero. I think I will bring in Forster if he has the ability. He has voodoo. He does. He does have voodoo. So we're going to bring in David Letterman's favorite pitcher of all time, Terry Forster. And because of the H, he takes away a lot of home runs. And this is the best of the best on the Dodger home run hitters, Pedro Guerrero. Let's see what he has. What does he have for saves this season? He has 27 saves and 3 blown saves. He needs another one here. His team needs him desperately. They want to get back in the first place tie. They want to hold off these powerful Dodgers. 2-time world champion Dodgers. Going for a three-peat. They want to hold them off. And he gets the double play and the game is over. And the Braves win it 7-4. Winning pitcher. Winning pitcher is Len Barker. His 11th win of the season. Donnie Moore. He will get a hold, I believe. Bedrosian, I don't think gets a hold. I'll have to go and look back in the archives. Forster definitely gets a save. But that is it. Look at the box scores here again. The MVP of the game has to be the MVP of the season. Dale Murphy, 3 for 5, double, RBI. They really spread out the RBIs. Nobody had more than one, but you can also make a case for Hubbard because when he came in the game, that's when the fortunes changed for the Braves. Royster was doing zippity-doo-dah, and they bring in Hubbard, and everything changed at that point. Bill Russell had a great game for the Dodgers. He was 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs. But I never give the player of the game to the losing team. So that is it. Thank you for tuning in here today to the King Ikeboo Sports Network, replaying the 1983 baseball season. Let's look at the standings. Well, we have to save this game first. I'm still not... Okay, let's determine whether... Usually this is the kind of stuff I do offline, but the game does not automatically award saves and holds. But, okay, when they came into the game, Moore came into the game, it was 5-3, so he definitely gets a hold. When Bedrosian came in the game, let's see the point Bedrosian came in. Something tells me he came in with a situation. Okay, so he came in the top of the 8th. No, bottom of the 8th. So the score was at that point 7-3, so he does not get a hold. So I can continue on. Don't have to worry anymore. I know what to do. So we save the game. It's 9-11. Braves 7. Dodgers 4. And we award a hold to Donnie Moore. Nothing to Bedrosian. And a save to Terry Forster. Yes, of course. I want to include this as part of the replay. Why would I play the game if I didn't want to? So now the up-to-date standings. We have a tie at first place between the Braves and the Astros. The Braves have played 4 more games than the Astros. San Francisco is 3 games back. And Los Angeles is now 5 games back. In the National League East, Montreal, who was trailing almost all season. They were first 2 months they were in first place, and the Cardinals just went crazy. And for 3 months they were in first place, and now they faltered a little bit. And Montreal's taken advantage, and Montreal is once again in first place by 3 games over the Cardinals. The Phillies, they're doing better than they did in real life. Of course, if you know your history, the Phillies were the real pennant winners in 1983 and faced the Baltimore Orioles. But they actually have a better record in the replay than they did in real life at this point in the season. They got hot in the last 3 weeks to take the pennant, but they just can't get it going. Schmidt has, he still has decent numbers, but he has not dominated. And he was in a funk for like 2 months. And now he's heating up again, and the Phillies are doing better, but they're still 7.5 games back. And the beloved Cubbies doing much better than real life. They were 5th place in real life, just ahead of the Mets. But their runs for and against differential was positive. So the game reflects that, and they have a above 500 record in real life. Of course, they're not doing as well as they did in 1982 when they won the division and came to the 7th game against the Dodgers and were up in the 7th inning and blew it. The closer, Lee Smith, blew the game. Otherwise, they would have been the pennant winners in 1982. I'm still choked about it, as you can tell. In the American League East, the Blue Jays are hanging on. They're struggling like crazy, losing all their games, but nobody is really dominating below them, so they still have a 3-game lead over Milwaukee, 3.5 over Baltimore, and of course the White Sox are just running away with it, 14-game lead over Oakland, which is pretty realistic, although it was Kansas City that was in second place in real life. So that is it. Thanks for tuning in and getting the update on how the big project is going. As if you didn't know, I am replaying the entire 1980s. Not just one season. I'm replaying every game in the 1980s. I started on Remembrance Day, November the 11th, 2015. So not even 4 years ago. I'm almost at the end of 1983. And I'm slowing down now. I used to do 6 games a day. Now I usually do 3 or 4 because I am so wrapped up. And you're thinking, I'm nuts, I know. But the wonderful Downey games, I've got everything. I'll also show you what's going on. I use 1900 as a practice. And I say, there's, of course, if you know that, there's only the National League in 1980. So I use it as a practice, and I determined that there was too many RBIs because of a calculation I made. Basically, well, I don't want to explain now. But, so I'm starting now in the 1901. Starting for real, because there's both the National and American League. Then I'm also replaying basketball, the 1950 NBA season, the first season of the NBA, as it was known, the NBA. And here are the standings right now, and having a blast with it. And of course, I have to figure out, the points. So, this should be really quick. But I'm also taking time to figure out who's scoring the points, so it's taking longer. But I love statistics, and so I don't mind whatsoever one bit. But the Minneapolis Lakers just lost their first game of the season. They were 11-1. They lost to the Chicago Stags, who are becoming a fan favorite. The Chicago Stags, who are 10-4 on the season. The Indianapolis Olympians are 12-3 in second place. The Syracuse Nationals are in third place, 10-3, and the Fort Wayne Pistons are 8-3. Then the Chicago Stags, then the Anderson Packers, the Rochester Royals, Boston Celtics are 7-7. The Washington Capitals are 6-6. The New York Knicks are 8-9. Tri-Cities Blackhawks are 5-8. Philadelphia Warriors 5-8. The Waterloo Hawks 5-8. The Baltimore Bullets 4-8. The St. Louis Bombers 4-10. The Sheboygan Redskins 3-8. And the Denver Nuggets, who are by far the worst team in basketball, are 0-16. Though they have one of the best players in the game, Kenny Sailors, who has got an 18.2 points per game average, and I believe that's in the top 5. Alex Groza of Indianapolis Olympians is 21.5 points per game. But the leader, George Mikan of the Lakers, no surprise there, has a 31.8 points per game. Here's the actual leaders. Here. Mikan, Groza of Indianapolis, Dolph Shays of Syracuse, 19.2, Dick Meehan of Waterloo, 19, Dyke Edelman is 18.4, then Kenny Sailors. So I was wrong, as the king often is, as Kenny Sailors is not in the top 5, he is number 6. Then Harry Boykoff, Frankie Bryan, Max Zavslovsky, Ralph Beard round up the top 10. Who is your favorite player? You pick one. But it's a blast. You can get through season. If I started many NBA seasons, and I've never got through any of them, but I will here, the 1950, and I'll keep you posted. Then I'm also playing hockey. The first year of the NHL. Of course, I got to start way back. 1918. And this is a replayer's dream, the 1918 NHL season, because there's only 4 teams, and one of them disbanded. The Montreal Wanderers disbanded, so there's only 3 teams in the NHL. Anybody can finish a season when you only play 22 games and there's 3 teams. The Montreal Canadiens are leading the NHL with 28 points. They got Joe Malone, who was Gretzky. Before Gretzky, one of the greatest goal scorers in the history of hockey. He has 38 goals in 19 games. He averages 2 goals a game. Although he doesn't get any assists because he scores all the time. He's not the leading scorer. It's DJ Petre. He's the leading scorer. And this asterisk means they are members of the Hockey Hall of Fame. So these aren't flukes. Didier Petre has 64 points in 19 games. 50 assists. And the leading for the Toronto Arenas is Harry Cameron. He's a defenseman. He's second in the NHL with 61 points. He's the Bobby Orr of 1918. So that's what's happening here. We're almost at the Stanley Cup final. The top 2 teams. I may put that on YouTube. The Stanley Cup final between the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Arenas. The Arenas became the St. Pats, who became the Maple Leafs. And then, of course, also college football. College football 1930 style. And I'll probably do a video very soon because we have finished Group A. And here are the standings in Group A. And the Big Red of Cornell. The 32nd ranked Cornell Big Red are 13-1. And are the winners of the group. The number 1 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish are 11-3. Stanford Cardinal and Marquette Golden Eagles are 7-7. So we are going to play the playoffs. Best of 7 football. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Well, we can do it. We can do it because it's Downey games, ultra quick, final score football. So semifinal series game 1. The 4th seed in the group, the 33rd ranked Marquette at Cornell, the 32nd ranked Cornell, who's number 1 in this group. In one semifinal and the other semifinal, Stanford Cardinal versus Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So that's what we'll do next on the King Boo Sports Network. We'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.